guys, so it is a very exciting day right here on this tutorial because over the break I managed to get a hold of a decent lavalier mic. So with any luck this will be the end of all the pops and awful noises that we used to get when I was bullshitting and using my headphones for a lavalier mic. Yes? Awesome. So today's tutorial is going to be on a topic that when I first learned it, this idea was called giants. I don't know if it is still called giants, but essentially what it is learning to do basic extensions. That is, play around with this idea of your arm and the poi forming one solid unit. And it's a really, really important lesson, especially for people who've already played around with the 3-beat weave and things like thread the needle and the like. Why? Because when we perform these moves, we get very, very used to the idea that our hands barely move, but our poi are moving a lot, right? And it is just as important to be able to play around in this place where both the poi and the hand are kind of locked in place. This is a really basic element for playing around with flowers and hybrids. So I'll give you guys two very basic exercises that you can start with that will start to build up this skill. And sometimes it comes easily and sometimes it doesn't. It totally depends upon the person. The first thing you're going to do is you're actually going to wrap up your poi in one of your hands, I don't care which one, and you're just going to start off moving your hand around in a large circle. And the point here is that you're going to try and reach all the points that are furthest from your shoulder that you can reach without really moving your shoulder, right? Don't lock your elbows. You can leave it. You can leave it nice and loose, but you know, get some range in this, right? If you're doing smaller circles like this, you're cheating yourself out of the work. After you've done that a couple times, just to familiarize yourself with the feel of opening up all those muscles and everything, go ahead and let out a coil of that poi that's wrapped around your hand, and you're going to attempt to do that same circle, and this time have the end of the circle not be your hand, but be the head of the poi, right? 9 times out of 10, the first time you try this, one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to find that the poi head is going limp over the top, or you're going to find that you're doing something more like a flower where you're turning the poi more often than you're turning your hand, right? Here are two possible ways that you can fix these problems. Number one, if you're having the problem that the poi is going limp over top, what that means is that your hand isn't moving fast enough to keep it going against the pull of gravity. And every single poi and every single arm length is going to find its own balance on this. So if you're finding that that's the case, try speeding up your arm a little bit. Not too much, just little increments until you find that nice balance point. On the other hand, if you're having the opposite problem, that the poi is turning around too many times as you're moving your hand around, you're going to have to train your hand to kind of chill out and move in tandem with your shoulder. Here's one way that you can do it. If you start off doing a nice gentle pendulum back and forth, you can pick one direction where you're actually going to give it enough oomph to go all the way around. But starting in the pendulum is going to give your arm a nice relaxed feel for getting through this move, rather than thinking it has to make that circle happen. Because when it thinks that, it's more than likely that your hand is going to think it has to work on making the circle too, and you make too many of them, right? So if you've got that down, the next step is to work on taking at least one move that you're familiar with in weave land and use your arm to do it instead of your hand and poi, right? And by that I mean doing a tic-tac. Normally when we do a tic-tac, we're essentially just holding our hand in one static place as we move the poi back and forth across our body. We need to train our body to be able to do this with the arm rather than just the poi. If you've already gotten to the point where you can let out the full poi as you're doing this extension, you're halfway there. The piece that you're missing then is to be able to do a circle both in front of your body and behind your body. And of course, you're going to have to turn your shoulders a little bit as you do this. Of course, you're going to want to try that in both directions and with both hands. When you've done all that work, congratulations, it's time to start on some actual giants. We're going to go ahead and build up to the first one, which is this one right here, incrementally, yeah? The way we're going to do that is, and I'm going to do this from my dominant direction, which is clockwise, I'm going to go ahead and plant my feet about shoulders width across, and I'm going to turn my torso to the right-hand side of my body, And I'm going to begin by having my arms go around in split time, same direction, or if you prefer to think of it this way, you could think of it as being analogous to the crawl stroke if you're swimming. And the next time the poi in my left hand passes by my feet, I'm going to actually follow it all the way around. Now what that entails is not only is my left hand going to go past my feet, but as it goes up, it's got to go back behind my left shoulder again. So it's actually doing quite a bit of work there. Down, and as it goes up and around, it goes behind my shoulder. Now I'm going to switch my focus. Rather than focusing on my left hand, I'm going to focus on what my right hand's doing. And the next time my right hand goes up, again, my body's going to follow it to the other side, and as it comes down and around back, it's got to go behind my right shoulder, yeah? Now you'll note that I'm back to facing frontwards. When I was faced to the left, this feels more like the backstroke. It feels like I'm going reverse, right? So every time you make that turn, you have to switch which hand you're focusing on. When you're going forwards, you're going to focus on your left hand. Again, this is if your dominant direction is clockwise. And if you're going reverse, you're going to focus on that right hand. So we're going to build up to the giant incrementally here. We're going to start off by counting down 4, 3, 2, 1 beats with the left hand. 4, 3, 2, 1 up beats with the right. 3, 2, 1 down beats with the left. 3, 2, 1 up beats with the right, 2, 1 with the left, 2, 1 with the right, and 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. If you can get down to the ones, congratulations, you've just done your first giant. It's basically a split time, same direction real turn, except that it's done with full arm extensions instead of with the poi itself, right? Pretty cool. The next one we're going to do, I think, is slightly more complicated, but essentially it starts with a windmill. That is a split time, same direction reel that goes around your shoulders rather than around your hips, yeah? And in the case of the windmill, you're going to, this is kind of a tricky timing to find, but essentially you're going to find that moment where you have one poi that's going down in front of your face while the other poi is going up behind your head, yeah? And once again, if you're going clockwise, it'll be that moment when your right hand is behind and your left hand is in front. When that happens, you're going to pop out your arms before bringing them back together. Pop them out, bring them back together. Pop them out, bring them back together. And remember, your hands have to be going the same direction as the poi, so when you are going up, your right hand is going to go up, your left hand is going to go down, yeah? So right up, left down. Right up, left down. Right up, left down. And eventually, you should just be able to get it to the point where you can do a single repetition of it at a time, yeah? Cool. So that is Giants in a nutshell. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will be back with another tutorial for you next Friday. Peace.